with Frank Jordan and the Earth Mind Think Tank Group. We welcome all listeners and chatters. Any questions can be called in to 1-775-657-5973. 1-775-657-5973. If you're in the chat room on Wolf Spirit Radio, which is wolfspiritradio.com/wolf chat, please post questions in uppercase letters, in capital letters. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Frank Jordan on Wolf Spirit Radio, and we're bringing you this morning the Earth Mind Think Tank Group, which is a meditation group that pulled together over 2 years ago to use our group mind consciousness to pool our information, our gifts and abilities to be effective in the world. And by doing that, when we made contact with Wolf Spirit Radio, we found that we have contact with hundreds of thousands of people around the world now in all different locations. And this is having a wonderful effect in bringing together people over the internet and through the airways who are listening to us and associating the things we talk about in their own realities, and in doing so, bringing about a unified group mind consciousness, a consolidation of a realization of the reality we're experiencing. And one of the keys and the cores of that is the end of the last cycle, the astrological cycle, and the beginning of a new age of opportunity, of spirituality, and advancement in consciousness, an opportunity to release the third dimensional reality, which has been with us for 26,000 years, and where domination was the key factor. And we're learning about dominion, the potential and power of dominion. And one of the primary factors in that is simply the realization that as we attune each other through the psychic grid and through the soul grid, we bring together a consolidation of the spiritual powers and prowess that humans have to create the reality instead of being subjective to it. Up to this point, we've been subjective and being driven and forced and manipulated and controlled and enslaved and every manner possible, simply because the dominators have had the ability, the financial ability, the spiritual control of spirituality, which really serve to inhibit our inner spirituality and our awareness that we are aspects of God, and that as such, we are and can be co-creators with the God force in manifesting in this new age how we want to experience life and what would be beneficial not only to us but our emerging consciousness that in the future is going to take us out into the cosmos. And it's a known fact by many who have learned how to listen that we are receiving information from the galactic center, from other beings out in that have already evolved in consciousness, that we're not going to be allowed to be out there and take domination with us. That's just not how it works. We need to go out as ambassadors of goodwill of the higher order of mankind potential, so that we can communicate with and interact with other humanoid beings that have already evolved and are very actively working through their means of commerce and intellectual exchange and every other social and media possible. On every level of intellectual consciousness, it's already out there ahead of us. But we're just children in that respect. We literally know nothing beyond what our own little encompassed shell of knowledge and reality that we've evolved here. But this is good because this gives us the opportunity to look back at everything that we've done wrong, everything that is in form in the third dimension that is not beneficial to the evolution of mankind, and gives us the opportunity to pause and listen to those who have gone before and to lift the consciousness of mankind into this fourth dimension, which is one of time and space, that'll give us the opportunity to create and manifest a new world reality. Not a new world order. That's a term of the domination forces who want to maintain their control, in fact, eliminate most of humanity. So they will be in their, whatever they perceive their reality to be, they'll be in sole control and domination of it, strictly for survival. And we understand in the higher realms of consciousness, it's not survival that's important. It's the evolution of the consciousness, because the consciousness survives from one generation to the next, from soul incarnation, embodiment, to the next, and regardless of what is done here on the physical earth. But if we create a physical earth for our souls to reincarnate back into, and healthy bodies and good social conditions, and abundance for all, if we manifest that, then our next incarnations or our further growth of consciousness will be on a much higher level, much more beneficial to everyone. And that's basically what we're working towards in our Earth Mind Think Tank group and the listening audience of Wolf Spirit Radio. And I'd like to encourage everyone who is listening to go to Wolf Spirit Radio, the archives of the Earth Mind Think Tank group, Frank Jordan, and listen to the archives where we've been evolving understanding of how this all works. And with it comes a lot of psychic abilities and techniques and use of skills that are inherent to us all, but which we simply have not been allowed to express and learn in previous incarnations, so to speak. But now it's time for us to come to life, to come to light, and begin to move upward and onward. And so listening to Wolf Spirit Radio through all their programs, and particularly to the Earth Mind Think Tank group and the healing session on Sunday evenings, this is an opportunity for you all to participate, to learn how to pool your skills, your knowledge, your information, as well as your spiritual directive energy and force of consciousness to become co-creators in the environment rather than just being subjective to those who have come before. Now, I'd ask, before we go into the Earth Mind work today, I'd like to ask the other members of the Earth Mind Think Tank group, can you contribute something to what I've just said?
I'm thinking that perhaps instead of calling it new, to call it now.
Very good. Now, world order. That's beautiful, Catherine. And so it is. Anyone else?
That definitely makes sense. Bring everything into the now to manifest forward.
About an evolved world order?
I think that's inherent in the term now. That's basically what we're creating is the evolved world order. Joan, do you have something?
No, not at this time. I'm following along. It sounds right on.
All right. Rachel, how do you see the now world order?
I see it as living in our sacred heart space and bringing heaven onto earth. I just see heaven on earth.
Do you feel like we have a covenant somehow with Spirit and a self-responsibility to participate in the events that create our future?
Yes. Especially as you become more awakened, you become a conscious creator. Yes, I absolutely do believe we need to step forward and become the fullness of who we are.
Rich, how do you see it?
Well, I'm looking at the fact that I think we have unlimited resources now. I think that the fact that we're expressing our abilities in such a constructive manner that the universe is now opening itself up to us and offering us the power that we need to accomplish what we need to do here.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I see one response to that, or in respect to that, how the galactic flow, which comes through and sends us energetic frequencies, which can repattern our DNA and stimulate our inner knowledge and consciousness. I see this beginning to come into other people of higher consciousness or growing consciousness, rather than just the members of the group here. Rachel, particularly, I see is having contact with others and becoming like a node of consciousness out there, so that when she interacts with others, that galactic flow can come through Rachel and communicate with others. Is anyone else having this experience of the galactics coming through while you're talking to other people outside of the group?
Frank, this is David. Yeah, in fact, this week I actually had a session with a young lady here in Atlanta where we were doing some healing work. She had mentioned that she wanted to heal a family member, and so I just stopped what we were doing and said, okay, great, let's do it. So in fact, while we were doing that, I just asked her to close her eyes and just feel the healing and envision the person that she wants to heal. And I felt them immediately, and then she began to feel them, and her hands lit up, and her hands actually turned very red. And so, yes, that was a beautiful experience for her to have in that very moment that we were actually doing work on her to show her that she has the power to heal others.
That's very appropriate, David, and that's exactly what happens. And this is the incredible thing that's happening through our Wolf Spirit Radio group, is touching others through the airways and doing this group mind healing work we do that stimulates and opens their consciousness to these flows of galactic energy that come through. Right. And as I'm speaking now, the members of the group, I assure you, are all feeling their hands get hot. And this is just kind of like a body signal that says, okay, we're here, we're waiting. What do you want us to do? And those out in the radio audience, if you'll simply step back and open your point of attention deep within yourself, kind of reaching out through the back of your heads, you'll feel this energy come into you and your hand will get hot. And this is the signal that you are God force beings incarnate at this time that have the inherent capability and capacity to do this healing work. And it's not just healing of others, it's healing of the earth. It's important. And maintaining the earth so that we will have a happy, productive environment and beneficial to everyone in our reality as we evolve to further and higher levels of consciousness. So just feel this for a moment now. Just close your eyes and step back. Open up and feel the intensity of the group mind power that's growing and evolving through this radio broadcast. See, the interesting thing is, I call this the love flow, having no better terminology. We simply don't have a language to understand even what's happening to us. I call it the love flow, which contains every vibrational frequency that's available to us by divine right, and to care for and nurture and empower and induce in others higher ranges and frequencies of thought and ideals. So just gather this force within us now, extend it outwards through the group mind consciousness of Wolf Spirit Radio. Now, it's all about energy, understanding energy, the fact that everything in form is an energetic form in standing waves of consciousness. And I've recently been getting some tremendous insights that I'll share with you in our future classes, our Sunday night classes. How energy works, what energy is, how to be one with energy. And that's what's happening now. These flows coming through us are pure sources and potential of energy expression, which we, with our thoughts and our desire and will and intent, create a form in a standing wave of consciousness that manipulates or brings into form anything that we choose to focus our attention on. And that's the group mind power. This can affect things out in the environment. And that's what we've been doing the last couple of years with our earth mind meditations. And we've seen definite responses to our work in how things happen out there. And the Earth's in such a turmoil right now for many reasons. One is the polar shift, and another is the approach of Nibiru, which I do strongly feel is coming at a point in the future. And that is already causing perturbation, disturbing the other planets in their cycles. And all the planets are going through perturbation, I guess that's the word. And things happening in their systems. And even the sun is responding to it. And so with this awareness that we, with our group mind consciousness, our intent of spirit and will, we can affect things out in this little solar system of ours, then we understand more why we came in at this time, why we've been directed to be creative and co-creative, and to develop understanding about how things work. And that's really who and what we are. So internalize that intent within yourselves as we go into meditation now. Take your awareness up into the center of your forehead and just move your point of attention to that point of I that is your self-identification held in the frontal lobes of your brain. And move that I, your ego, your self-identification, back a step into the soul center. And this is the common soul center of all human beings that hold the group mind consciousness and the history and pattern of our soul travels in other incarnations and world realities. And this is the one that holds our soul memory. And this is the one that has brought us to this point on this earth for the experience to learn, to experience in this lifetime and others how not to manage a planet. And as we learn this and move on into the fourth dimension, our soul lesson is totally, entirely to learn what not to do as we come back into our memory and power, so we will know what to do, what creates and carries life forward, rather than suppressing it in the domination ranges. To feel that in the soul center and expand that out to the world soul consciousness, the knowledge of what we're here for, what we're experiencing, and what we can do. Now take your awareness a step further back to the psychic center. This is where we can interact individually or through group mind, the group psychic mind, to prompt thoughts and ideas and ideals, and even to teach lessons of inner awareness And I'm feeling this now. The prompting just came to express out through the psychic center, and you will feel this wave coming now. A wave of pure love and intent for everyone in the world, all of our brothers and sisters, including those who would call themselves our masters. This is a wave of understanding, like a blessing to humanity, to recognize and love each other with no barriers, and with greater understanding that I am. Through this comes the realization, I am, you are, we are one. Now feel that shift of consciousness as we resonate this around the world. Now drop your point of awareness back deeper in the head till you feel yourself expand. Now we're in the physical world of consciousness, that which deals with its actual physical reality. And the subconscious mind is the communicator that observes, that is in resonance and attunement through the vibraports to everyone else on earth and to everything on earth. This is what the subconscious mind does. The inner consciousness that is totally naive in that it simply downloads information, it simply holds the form, it simply expresses what our low self animal consciousness brings into form in the physical reality, and what our mid-range of consciousness expressed through the soul chooses and elects and desires to do. And that, in heeding the prompting of Oversoul, the higher levels of our triad of consciousnesses that manifests and creates in the 0 points of our hearts the physical reality of who and what we are. From that deep inner point of awareness now, move awareness down through the body to the heart center. And for a moment, touch into the spirit center there. This is the aspect of God that is individualized in each living being and each living thing that has DNA. This is the expanded consciousness of God experiencing life in all ways possible in the human condition and in all other beings and species on the planet. And this is the one that's in resonance through the God Force consciousness with all other species in the solar system and beyond the solar system in the galactics. So feel the wholeness, the oneness now with everything. For this is where the power is unifying the consciousness within that oneness to empower and do things. So the first thing we want to do is drop into earth mind. Move your awareness down the spine to the root chakra and down into earth mind. This is the living consciousness of Gaia, Mother Earth, the life force that holds and sustains all things in form. And in cooperation with Gaia, we can affect the weather. We do affect earthquakes. And it supplies us with a tremendous force and power of abundance of energy through a golden shield we've created around the earth, that we pull excess earthquake stress energy upward through ourselves and connect into the golden grid now in the ionosphere. Now feel that oneness with the wholeness of Gaia and Mother Earth. Take our awareness to Southern California in the earthquake grid now, this is where the Baja is moving along. The Gulf of California, the Pacific Plate rubbing on the inland plate in a lateral movement that hangs up and causes earthquakes. Tremendous amount of energy being transmitted from one plate to the other as movement and heat. When that hangs up and releases, it becomes earthquakes just to release the energy. So our awareness now is we want to pull that energy up our spine, tune into everything south of Los Angeles now, pull that vast amount of energy up our spines. We're working in the subtle energy fields. Release the energy out through your crown chakra, through oversoul, into the golden grid, visualizing that golden grid of energy around the earth that protects us from solar flares. And there are no solar flares at the present time. So as we go around the ring of fire today, releasing this energy, adding it to the golden grid, our intent is to build enough power in the golden grid to deflect Nibiru as it comes towards us on its 3,600-year orbit. To reach out and touch Nibiru and send a polarity toward Nibiru, a repulsive polarity, negative energy repulsing negative polarity energy, just enough that from the distance it's in, it will deflect and take a wider orbit through the solar system this time. And it's already having an effect on the weather systems and the earthquakes. Deflect that magnetic energy, the gravity force, and feel Earth calm down as we do this. Another intent for today will be to stabilize the weather systems. There's unusually dry conditions coming a month earlier than they should be from Alaska all the way down to the southern border of the United States and into Mexico. A lack of humidity to hold the fires down and to suppress lightning storms. So we reach out with our unified field into the Pacific Ocean now, and the low that's forming now will go further to the north than we want it, so we ask it, you simply become that rotational field, rotating as a low that's beginning to grow, and we bring that down into the United States and southern regions to undercut the high and to push the high out, to weaken the high and push it out to the east, where in turn it can stabilize some of the severe storm activity in the Midwest and East. Visualize and see this happening now, and we draw energy from the golden grid into the low to empower it, to create wind, intensify the sun for radiation, to evaporate more moisture. And we see that huge low coming into the United States, suppressing the fires, and to help nourish any crops that will mature later on in the season. And we see this happening, beginning to form and come in within 4 days. They're telling me it'll take longer in this case because it's too far out there. It'll take about 10 days. But we unify all the desire and will of every living creature who has DNA in the North American continent now, to unify your desire and will for moisture, normal moisture patterns, to come through and bring humidity and moisture into the southern portion of the continent, and to dampen the fires that are beginning to happen in Canada and Alaska. Now, all the energy we release into the grid today will continue to work for that purpose. So we send that intent forward as we move our awareness up the coast from San Francisco, San Diego to San Francisco, lifting those inland activities upward in the and we go to the eastern edge of California, Sierra Nevada mountain range that stretches all the way down below Las Vegas. We lift those energies upwards, and we see a response to the moon in this cycle, in that there is an increase of smaller to medium earthquakes. That always happens. And there's a greater scattering of minor earthquakes up into the Cascade Range, all the way north to the Canadian line. We lift those up through the ancient volcanoes, dispersing it around the earth. Now we shift our attention eastward to the Rocky Mountains, running the full length. And we see an intensification again around the caldera in the Yellowstone. Tremendous amount of energy there to be released. Feel your whole body flush with that energy as you direct through yourself the Devic force of consciousness to carry that energy upward into the golden grid, transmute it into energy, subtle energy that can be transmuted into anything we desire. Again, feel your hands tingle and be hot as we do this. This is a body signal that the galactics are directing and assisting in the subconscious and unconscious creativity that we are manifesting now. Now bring your awareness westward to the Pacific Northwest and a plethora of small earthquakes around the Puget Sound area, Seattle, and westward into, particularly into the Cascade Mountains of Washington. It's an intensification subduction zone there. We lubricate that so it does not hang up and create any kind of a measurable effect that could be detrimental. Now we move our awareness northward to Alaska. And right in the southeast corner of Alaska, there's a tremendous amount of activity in the Alaskan Peninsula. Lift that upward in the coast regions. This is also in the region of the pipelines and ports of Valdez, which could cause destructive damage, and oil spills release that energy before it becomes fully manifest as a major earthquake. Now move your attention to inland Alaska. In the south central region, ongoing activity there. Release that activity, neutralizing the stresses on the Gulf of Alaska plate there, which is really the Pacific plate. It's all subduction zone. Tremendous amount of energy being released constantly. Now move your awareness down the Aleutian Peninsula. Only minor activity today. A focal point being Little Sitkin Inlet. Intensification there that could build up into damaging earthquakes in the ports there. Take the awareness westward to the Kamchatka Trench. It runs all the way from Russia, the Kamchatka Peninsula. Minor activity, full length on that trench, all the way down to Japan. See mid-range activity in the Japan Trench. Release that, lubricate that so it doesn't hang up and become another major tsunami event. It is some minor activity, 4.7 near Tokyo. Release that. That could be energy associated with the volcanic release of the subduction zone energy there. Now we move southward to the Philippines, and there's very scattered activity there today. What there is out in the ocean. On into Indonesia, where there's a definite reduction in activity, but we continue to release the energy so it does not build up, need to be released as earthquakes. Now continue eastward to the Solomon Trench, creating the Solomon Islands, through the Solomon Sea. There's a 5.1 at Paguna, stretching on around to Vanuatu, Fiji, Tonga, and southward on the Kermadec Trench to New Zealand. No activity there at the moment, but it could be building up, so we just left any energy building up on the earthquake fault lines now. and in the volcanic regions. Now we move eastward across the Pacific to South America. It is a series of mid-range activities in the Andes Mountains, indicating the Peru-Chile subduction trench activity. It's lifting the Andes Mountains. We open the old ancient portals in all the volcanoes, lift that energy upward, all the way up to southern Peru. Particularly in the area of Iquique, Chile. And we go northward to Central America, and the usual scattering of mid-range activity to Honduras, Guatemala, San Salvador, Nicaragua. From there, eastward to the Dominican Republic. Activity is actually lessened there today, but still quite a scattering of minor adjustments. Lift that energy upward. Across the Pacific to the Mediterranean area. Only very minor activity through that entire region. Most of the activity seems to be in the Western Hemisphere at this time. Probably reaction to the moon cycle there. Now we move eastward to Afghanistan. Northern Afghanistan, ongoing subduction zone. Lift that upward. And the plateau of Tibet, in the thrust fault region, north of the Himalayas. Now eastward, across the Pacific to our point of beginning. I just feel the oneness now with the golden grid and the resonance of power that's there, latent power waiting to express it as our desire and will. And we use our desire and will to further reinforce the funnels of energy that we're releasing from particular sites, such as the radioactivity in Japan, and the cauldron of the Yellowstone. We leave those continual, ongoing sites as we move our awareness to the central United States. An increased activity in Oklahoma, around Stillwater, Oklahoma. This is all due to the fracking. It's become severe now. It's causing concern with the locals and with those who in our geological agencies, governmental agencies that monitor such things. They're trying to appease the population by saying it does not do permanent damage, but the observation is that it certainly does make a big difference in that subterranean region, to the degree that not only here but around the world, sinkholes are appearing in increased measure. the sinkholes being Earth response, where energy has been removed as oil or gas or water that disrupts the structure, the harmony, the strength of the crust of the earth. We send energy to all these places now from the golden grid to strengthen the structure using the Gaia force of consciousness, to strengthen the structures and to neutralize the pollution that is caused by the fracking activity. And bring your awareness back to the point of beginning, up the spine, to the group mind centers in the psychic center. We reach out around the world again. Depleting the cabal of their energy, of their fiat money system, depleting their energy so they are no longer a factor in the world, even though they own 95% of the world's assets. We see those assets being transmuted back to the public arena where they can be distributed for those who can manage such things. We go to Iraq now and pour unconditional love into the hearts of all Iraqi citizens, helping them to realize their oneness, that they are letting go of their tribal domination and desire to control territory, relaxing, releasing the borders so they can all function as one people. You see their parliament being convened and functioning to elect a new prime minister, and immediately after that, the revaluation of the dinar, which is the linchpin by agreement with the world leaders in the financial structures, that'll be the linchpin that triggers the new world financial structure. We see this going flawlessly, and those who would take advantage of the transition being reduced in their capacity to block it. And we see it in this moment of now, the new world now, the new world reality. Through our soul centers, reach out and touch everyone on earth and carry this potential forward into the future of dominion in all choices, all living activities, the nurturing of dominion, and the completeness of fulfillment of our purpose for being here. And so it is. We bring your awareness back up your spine into your own centers of consciousness. And if any of you have anything you'd like to express at this time, or any requests, this is your opportunity.
I'll make some comments about the planetary alignment here quickly. Your Lord of Truth beckons to you once again. Jupiter, your avatar of aspiration, reminds you that you are here for one reason. The self-unfolding fountain source of your journey flows from your nature as a spark of the divine. That your truth as a being of light forms an irrepressible spiritual injunction. You are here for one wondrously, joyously, and humbling purpose only. You are here to become. You are here to awaken. You are here to grow. You are here quite simply to love. Jupiter enters Leo 16 July till August 11 of 2015. The Lord of Principles and Social Understanding enters the regal sign of Leo for the next 13 months. This is the time to expand or stretch yourself upon even greater stages, to slip into new and renewed roles of self-realization. You had the last 13 months while in Cancer to restore and reconnect to your roots, to remember and feel what lies at the heart of you. Now it is time to go forth and reveal to yourself and others what you are to be and live a more authentic self.
Very good, Mike. Thank you. That's right on. Any other comments? All right, looking at our earlier conversation in the show and looking at the meditation we were given today and what we accomplished, give us a little insight as to what you see into the future. How will we proceed?
I
Fearlessly.
must proceed in dominion so we can change the collective consciousness away from war and dissevel around the world.
Very good, Joan. Anyone else?
Peace within, peace without. And Frank, I noticed that, the way you lead us through healing the earth, planet Earth, I brought it inside and did that with my body. So my personal individual planet, you can go through and work on disturbances, turbulence, unease, and calm it and recapitulate and go on to the now. Thank you.
Perfect. Which simply reiterates that consciousness is what it's all about, and consciousness is within each one of us. That's the point of the origin of intent that expresses outward through energy into form. So you have the power within. And it's done most effectively with the power of love, the co-creative energy that holds the form of all reality, that extends outward from us into all things in a cohesive force and power and virtue, in the virtue of God force consciousness experiencing all things possible. Does anyone else have a comment? There's just a wonderful feeling spreading outward from us now of warmth and light. And let's resonate that feeling around the world through all levels of consciousness, imprinting it in earth mind so this becomes the living consciousness, the living instinctive awareness of all beings through the power of the Christ within us. We see the good in all humanity and the potential of all living beings to express a higher order of consciousness and to be all that they came in to be, and to see it in the now of dominion, the now of the fourth dimension. And so it is. You are all radiant beings of light at this moment. And feel it manifesting from your heart center, which says that what we have done and are doing is affecting through the 0 point the future reality of all beings and of all things on earth, of life. And so it is. Thank you, Dave. Back to you. And incidentally, we're wrapping you in a great force of love to help you with your physical problems also.
Well, thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. This has been quite a show. We'll be back tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific time with healings and meditation. And until then...
until then, I'd like to remind everyone to donate to Wolf Spirit Radio. Just hit that donate button in the forum, and also that I'm available for direct work, either through healing or translation of consciousness, or which simply means helping you clear up your personal, mental, emotional problems, so you can become the co-creators that we all are. So you can contact me through Wolf Spirit Radio and through Cytronics.com, my website. It's psi-tronics.com, and FLJordan@cableone.net, CABLEONE.net.
Frank, I can just call you directly too, can't I? What is your phone number?
208-344-9188. 208-344-9188. And that is for direct scheduling. I do have time available. I do want to work with you. So many wonderful people are coming to us now that we can carry into the next generation, where we create our school to help train our experience with other healers that want to come to learn how to do this work and spread the principles of dominion. And so it is. Thank you, Dave.
Listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.